Hey, it's Charlie Greenman. I just wanted to make a non-tech video for the first time in a long time because I felt it had to be said. Just because I feel like it would be beneficial for people. I'm actually here working on the future Razroo website as well as the technical book that we're working on in Angular. Which, speaking of which, what I really want to talk about is just competition in tech and competition in general. Because there's going to be competition, and I'm a strong believer of saying good for everything. There's a very old age wisdom in many cultures, religions, communities, etc., to say good. But my point is like this, is that if you're someone who decided to own a business, if you're someone who's decided to work on something, the odds that in 5 or 10 years from now, even if you monopolize something, the fact that there's going to be competition is quite apparent. And you are going to be someone who's going to work hard and try and get something done regardless. There's always going to be money in your life if you're that type of person from the experience that you've gained in your journey. I'm a firm believer of that. I've seen many business owners who've worked very hard on something, and even if their business falls, they end up coming out as consultants making more than everyone else, or just doing better than everyone else, or living their life without regret and being completely at peace with themselves. And the way I look at it is that the journey is really a blessing regardless of who you are. So that being said, one more thing I just want to end off with, and that is that I've seen an abundance mindset from some people, that there's the ability to, there's more than enough out there. But for someone like me who comes from a place where I'm not doing this for the money, I'm doing this because I want to make an impact. If I see that I have someone who's competition out there, that's fantastic. That means that I have to now dig deeper and be creative and innovate, because in the way that my economics work, from a passion perspective and from a selfless perspective, and I want to make an impact, if the demand isn't there for something because it's already been created, then I will work on that. I will work on the next thing that will make a difference. So when I look at my competition and I see that in 5 or 10 years from now our trajectories might pass, I'm not working on a business idea right now because I need some money to fund and to work on at this point in time. But if I see that our trajectories might pass in 5 or 10 years, I look at that as a blessing. That's something that gives me the ability to innovate and to do better. So for that, I really firmly do believe that I wish you success. I think in the short term, I think that if your competition is so bad to the extent, and there are actually legal laws about this with regards to competition, and if you look at some middle age laws out there, actually, that you cannot build, let's say I like bagels. Let's say you cannot build a bagel shop in front of another bagel shop directly, because then that's direct competition and you literally will put that person out of business. But we're talking about in this age of business where you can have a niche and you can do well for yourselves in that year, but then moving beyond that point, once you have a setting, I definitely look forward to the competition, because they're now forcing my hand to innovate, and I probably will be more successful as a result of that competition than I now have to do. One last thing I would also like to end off with. When I was an intern, one of the first jobs I ever had, I was first a technical writer and a programmer working for my brother. That's how I got my start very early on, already at age 18, and I'm very blessed for that, and that's how I've been able to get to where I am. But in addition to that, I decided that I wanted to work for someone not my brother. I think I was a young kid. I really wanted to just prove myself and tell myself that I can do something. So I did an internship for about 5 or 6 months, and one of the questions, I'll never forget a question I was asked by someone who I was working with at the time. And they asked me, they said, Charlie, if this tech puts you out of a job, would you do it? And I was surprised by the answer I gave, and I said absolutely yes. And part of that was that I realized that society has to progress regardless of, we're all strategic people. We're trying to think ahead in a certain way. But I think that when it comes to a strategic, or when it, sorry, not strategic, but when it comes to a society, what's the right thing to do is that we have a responsibility as innovators or people in a space as consultants or just employees in general to make life easier for the next generation. And the way it just works in life is that the quicker we get to something, exponentially the more it increases, and we have the responsibility to do something like that. So when it comes to competition in general, also I think that what would give me more purpose is being able to innovate and to create something new. So I think that just on a number of levels, I think that what I'm saying is that embrace competition, embrace success, embrace innovation. We should all realize that there are many, many new ways of creating new ideas and services out there. And I just wish you nothing but success, and that this is just something that was on my mind and I need to get off my chest, and I also think will be valuable to other people. All right, peace out.